Hi, welcome to Concurrent Planning, Kin Gap, and Termination of Parental Rights Practice Guides Training. I'm Ashley Wilcott. I am a consultant with the Capacity Building Center for States. Really happy to be joining you for this virtual training. I am a judge in Georgia as a pro tem. I've done child welfare work for many, many years. I've served as a child advocate for the state of Georgia, appointed by Governor Deal. And I have been honored to work with Nevada and a lot of great work being done. I want to give you an overview of how we reached these practice guides. First on our agenda, I want to introduce to the panelists who will be joining us from your own state, who have experience and knowledge of the practice in the state of Nevada. We have Ross Armstrong, who is the administrator with the Nevada Division of Child and Family Services. We have Buffy Okuma, who is the Chief Deputy District Attorney in Washoe County. And we also have Jennifer Kuhlman, the Deputy District Attorney in Clark County. You will be hearing from each of them to cover information about each of these three topics. And they will also serve on the panel as we go through some of the questions and issues in practice. Next on our agenda, I do want to talk about the practice guides, fact and fiction. There are three different topics or practice guides. We have the concurrent planning that I had mentioned, Kin Gap, as well as the termination of parental rights and compelling reasons. Those will be followed by our facilitated roundtable discussion. Achieving timely permanency. What is a PIP, or a program improvement plan, and what is the implementation process? We're going to get into those details now. It may or may not have been something that you're familiar with. So we'll give you some of the background so you know how we got to the point of these practice guides for Nevada. First of all, this is a partnership. It is a partnership between all of the entities on the slide before you. We have the Nevada Division of Child and Family Services, the Clark County Department of Family Services, Washoe County Human Services Agency, the Division of Child and Family Services Rural Region, the Court Improvement Program, court representatives, which includes judges and attorneys, and the Center for States. The CFSR and PIP process, you may again be familiar with this or not, but I want to just go through it briefly so you have the background. So the Children's Bureau, the federal agency, administers a review in states. And this is known as the Child and Family Services Review, or the CFSR. And during this review, states are assessed for substantial conformity with federal requirements for child services in child welfare. As a result of this review by the feds, the Children's Bureau, the states create a PIP with a goal of improving child welfare services. So the entire plan of a PIP and the review, the purpose, is to improve the child welfare system within each state. Now, Nevada completed its third review in September of 2018. Out of that review by, again, the Children's Bureau, a plan was developed, a program improvement plan, or a PIP, that addressed areas that were rated as not in substantial conformity. One of these areas was achieving timely permanency. And because that was an area that was recognized by the feds as an area that needed to be improved within the state of Nevada, they looked at different ways that could be accomplished, or different areas of practice. And as you can see, there are three different areas that they came up with. One was effective use of concurrent planning in the state of Nevada. Two was timely filing of TPR. And the third was understanding the use of Kin Gap. Now, one thing that's important to remember that I want to point out is these are things that are based on your own state, on reviews of cases in your state, the data in the state, outcomes in your state. And so these are not arbitrarily assigned to a state to say these are the ones we want you to work on, but rather based on all of the hard work that your state does, these are the items that we find you do need to work on. So in breaking this down, it's PIP 3.4.1 in your state. And as a consultant with Center for States, I have worked with the work group in your state, rewriting agency policy and drafting the resulting practice guides around these three areas or these three topics. So what did we do to do that? The first is we brought together the stakeholders who have knowledge and experience in your state. You have a wealth of expertise in Nevada. So those are the people we went to first, and we brought them together. And this included all the different representatives that I mentioned as stakeholders. It included district attorneys. It included judges. It included child welfare specialists and attorneys. All of these people came together to talk about these different topics. The next step that we took was to conduct research and engage in discussion, spent a lot of time in meetings, and I commend your state for doing it so willingly, to really discuss what do we need? What are the agency policies that need to be rewritten? Those were rewritten. What do we do in terms of the practice guide? Well, they need to be based on the law, but they need to make sense in terms of also explaining any policies that may relate to them after we talk about the legal premise and the law behind them. So in doing this process, we had so many meetings, so many calls to receive the stakeholder feedback. And here's what I'm going to tell you about your state. You all are very thorough, and that is a very good thing, because when I say receive stakeholder feedback, I don't mean once, it was multiple times. We would send it out, everybody would weigh in, give their opinion in writing, then we'd have another call, make revisions, send it back out. That happened multiple times, and I think the benefit of that happening so many times is there were multiple opportunities to make it the best product that it could be. So we had two products as a result. We had any of the revised agency policies for concurrent planning, compelling reasons TPR, and understanding KIN-GAP. And we also then had the practice guides with the attorneys who worked on those to ensure that the practice guides on those three areas reflected the current laws in Nevada. A lot of work went into it, but I promise you these practice guides not only clearly reflect what the legal requirements are in your state, you also then have the expertise of these panelists to talk about what it means in practice. Now, we identified throughout this process some really unique challenges in your state. One is, and you all know this if you're practicing in Nevada or working in Nevada in the child welfare system, you have the state administered and county operated systems. And sometimes that just means that it can be more difficult because you have more than one that you have to sort out how it works and what the different things are that need to be done consistently. Part of the reason we have the practice guides is to improve practice, right? To make sure that attorneys are very aware of the legal requirements and practice in a way that all of those legal requirements are met more consistently throughout the state. That's how you overcome that unique challenge. Another unique challenge is no unified court system. Again, a way that that can be overcome is to have these discussions, these trainings, and to ensure that all of the individuals that are stakeholders have a voice at the table to be able to really ensure that each court is acting in the same way based on the laws. There are decisions made by the courts that are subjective, but the underlying legal premise is always the same. And as a result, one of those goals that we want to have to achieve through training on these practice guides is that laws are universally applied, regardless of your region, regardless of how your child welfare is administered, regardless of where you live, where you practice. We want to see these laws for these three topics universally applied. Ultimately, the goal is that practices are improved in such a way that permanency is achieved in a more timely manner. So we have the agency policies rewritten, we have practice guides reflecting the laws, and if we raise the bar and adhere to those and practice universally the same based on the laws and apply them in the same way, it will necessarily improve practice. We are going to listen to our experts and gain from their knowledge and experience, and we will then have a facilitated conversation. It's been my honor to be with you, to work with the state of Nevada. Work is being done. You all do great work. This is a prime opportunity to just do a deep dive and raise the bar. Thank you for participating in this training.